Hello there and welcome to a Partners in Crime tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to make some awesome text in the free-to-use software Blender 3D. So, if you don't know what Blender 3D is, it's a free software that you can download at the site we'll link in the description. That's open source, and whatever you make in it, you can basically render it out. You can have all the rights to all of your creations. So you want to have that installed and open up, and then we can get started with the tutorial. So type numpad 7 on your keyboard to go in the top view, then Control Alt numpad 0 on your keyboard to bring the camera to the same view, X to delete the default cube, and select delete when the dialog pops up. Right click on the lamp, type X and delete the lamp. And now we're going to clear our scene up to add in our text. So type in on your keyboard, and we're looking for the display section. Now just left click on all of these, X and Y, and uncheck grid floor relationship lines, and I'll unselect it, and that should clear up our scene nicely for our text object. So type in to exit that panel. We're going to type Shift A, and we're going to add our text. In the right of the screen here, you want to select the Text Object Data tab, and you can scroll through this menu by using your scroll wheel with the cursor hovered over it. You want to make sure you're in the Text Object Data tab. Scroll down under Paragraph, line, click Center. And we're going to type some custom text. Now you might want to type the name of your YouTube channel or the name of that you were putting on a video thumbnail or such, but we're just gonna type Blender. So tab to go into edit mode, erase the text, and type your own custom text. And press tab to exit text edit mode, and now we can edit our text as an object. So let's left click on this green arrow and pull it down here and open a font that we have saved on our computer. I will include a download link for in the description. Now we get most of our fonts from Google Fonts, so we'll include a link to that site in the description as well. So the font we're about to open up is called Bangers. So you want to have that download on your computer, and then you want to direct Blender to wherever that file is located on your computer after you click this folder here. So just click this folder, just look for wherever you put your fonts on your computer. So we put our fonts in web fonts, and we'll just click Bangers. Just double click on that and it'll load it up, and type S and move your cursor out to size the text up, left click, and left click on the screen arrow, drag our text down, and go into the material section and click new to add a new material. And let's use the Cycles render engine, because it just gives us a little bit more control over our gradients. And let's click use nodes and emission. So what we're going to do now is going to add a gradient to our text object that's going to it's going to basically change the colors of our text from top to bottom. And to do that, we're going to need to take the object coordinates of our text and separate the upwards and downwards directions and use that as a gradient. So the upwards and downwards direction is represented by this green arrow here. This is the y-axis arrow. So we're going to have to separate out the y-axis in our materials and plug it into a gradient ramp, which we will then change the colors to. So let's go ahead and do that. Split the screen here and go into the node editor, scroll up to zoom in, add input texture coordinate, and hook that there, and the object input to the emission input. So one thing you will notice if you go into material view is you'll see all the different colors of the axis represented here. So we just want the upwards and downwards area, so we're going to separate the y out. So add converter, separate XYZ, and plug it up here. And by default it'll do the x-axis, which is what this arrow represents here, which would be from side to side, and we want it from upwards and downwards. So we plug in the y value here, and you can see we got the brightness up here and the darkness down there. So if you add a color ramp, so that's add converted color ramp, plug that here, you can see we still got the dark parts on the bottom and the bright parts at the top, but you can change the color now. So if you click this stop here and you pull the value up, and you can just put actually any color you want, but right now let's do some orange stuff. So pull it to the yellow value, and let's actually pull this one to be more yellowish, and make this one a bright orange. And you can see if you pull this down, you get to like pull the bright yellow parts lower, and that looks really good. So if you click on this orange and click plus, it'll add in a similar orange. We can pull that up here to be at the top of our text. And now we get our text brighter towards the middle and then darker towards the top and bottom. So that's pretty cool. We can rename our text material text gradient over here and click plus to add another text gradient. So now let's make the text a different color. Let's make it blue. So let's change the value here and just blue it up, and that looks pretty nice. You can put the strength of the blue up, it'll look nicer, and you can change the mix mode to B-spline, and that just more smoothly mixes in your gradient colors. So pull that there. Let's saturate our blue in the middle a little bit more, while making sure we have the brightness increased to say 1.5. Now we can pull this down and darken this blue, and now you can see we got that brighter blue in the middle, and you get the dark blue at the top, and you got the dark blue at the bottom. We can darken the top blue as well, and pull this in here, and you can just pull them further apart to get a more accurate mixing, or you can reduce the value of this blue back to 1, and now you get that smooth, nice ocean blue, kind of metallic-y kind of gradient. You can just keep adjusting the positions and the values of the colors that you've chosen for your text. So this looks pretty good so far. One thing we can do is we can add some nice shadow effects to it. So let's add some outlines and some shadows. So let's make sure our text is perfectly flat. So let's use our middle mouse button. We're making sure it's sized to 0 on the z-axis, which is this blue arrow. So we're just going to size it in to 0 from front to back, so it's totally flat. So SC0. Enter. Numpad 0 to go back into camera view. Let's go down and zoom out. And let's Shift D to move this text. Right click cancel the movement. Click plus to make sure that's different material. And GZ minus 0.001. Enter. And that just moved our second text object behind our first. So let's put the strength up. And the reason you can't see it is because it's like directly behind here. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of thicken it out, just squeeze it out by the sides by increasing the bevel depth value, and it's just going to give our text object here a nice outline. So if you increase the bevel depth here, you can see we get that bright outline around our text here, and it's just a little bit more exciting. So another thing you can do is you can add in some shadows, effects, and a couple more outlines. So let's add in a black outline. Shift D, right click cancel movement, go into the material section and cancel that material. Add a new material. Make it an emission black material. So now we want GZ minus 0.001. Enter. And increase the value again on the bevel depth. And you can see we got the black outline coming out. So now we're going to add in a white outline behind that. So Shift D, right click, GZ minus 0.001, enter. Go to the material section, click this plus here, and make it a white material. Now we can't see it because we have to go back into the text object data tab and put bubble depth up even further. But now we can see our outlines and it looks pretty nice. So one more thing we can do is we can add a shadow effect by shifting this and just moving that down and left clicking it, and go into the material section and click plus here and just go through the colors, and you can just make it darker, and then make sure it's more shadowy and not intruding on the other outlines here. You want to also move this one behind on the Z axis, so type Z minus 0.001 and enter. So we have our shadow behind our text object, and our text object looks pretty nice. Now, if you want to render this out to use in your graphics software of choice, you want to go into the render settings, make sure you have your resolution set to 100% so you get the best quality text exported. You want to make sure you have your OpenGL render option set, full sample, anti-aliasing 16, and this one here is important. You want to make sure you have the alpha mode set to transparent so that you render a transparent background with your text that you should be able to use with any graphic software such as GIMP or Photoshop or whatever you use for your daily 2D graphics. So click that transparent button. You want to make sure you have that transparent button clicked, and let's make sure it's been clicked. Alright, and you want to have your anti-aliasing set in your viewport. So user preferences, system, multi-sample 8, window drawdown automatic, and isotropic filtering to 2, and you should be good. So once you have that set, you want to go to texture mode so you can see how your solid looks, and you can go back to material mode, render, and OpenGL render image. So we have that nice text there, and we can image, save as image, and save it on your computer, Blender text, name it, save it, and it'll save it wherever you saved it. So we have a pre-made pack of these texts available on the Blender market, and it's called Text Factory, and it's just a bunch of text that we made that we put our own custom colors and settings on. So you can check it out at the Blender market link that should pop up in this card here, and you can also check out our store and a project we have that's called Ultimate Motion Elements. That's a pack of like more than 200 animated Blender elements that we will include in this card here, and as a link in the description. And also check out our Patreon if you want to support our channel further. So we're pretty much finished with this tutorial. Thanks a bunch for watching, and subscribe if you want more tutorials from partners in coordinated rendering of ideas, motion, and effects.